Well, we got both dogs down here today because it's so warm taking a sponge bath. Yeah. Hey friends, welcome back to the cabin. Yeah, it is so warm out here today. I'm actually sweating with this hat on. You can tell how well this hat's used, right? But yeah, I thought I'd bring the dogs down here. Listen, see if you can hear those frogs. I think that we're going to have a very, very early spring. Things are beginning to dry out a little bit. I'll be able to get the tractor back down here and kind of work on cleaning up some of this mess that we've got down here. But you know, I had a comment about using my tractor and burying some 4-inch line out in the middle right there. But the problem is you can't get the tractor out there because you get stuck. Because it is damp all year round, even the summer, because there's no way for it to drain, and it's been so waterlogged that you don't even want to walk out there in your shoes because you'll begin to sink up. So we have always had that problem with this field right here. So the only way for me to, I think, address it is to come perpendicular to it. So I'll have to go out with probably a trencher. I say a trencher, I'm talking about a hoe, you know, an excavator where they can grab, and we'll have to slope the ditch this direction so they give that, because what you've got is a belly like this out there in the middle, and it can't go anywhere, so the water cannot escape. Whatever gets in there just stays there, and it just gets, you know, like I say, it's waterlogged out there and it doesn't go anywhere. So I think that that might be the only remedy. I would honestly even be afraid for an excavator to try to get out there, because you're talking years of water being out there, and I would probably have to be hooked up trying to pull the excavator out. Anyway, we'll get it taken care of sooner or later. And the other thing that we're going to do is, let me show you. We had some leftover concrete, so I poured it right there. But this is the access that I used coming down to the creek with the four-wheeler tractor or whatever. We got the same problem existing right here, because out there past that wood is another low area and it constantly stays wet. So what my intentions are is to take and build a pit on the other side of that lumber right there and trench it where it will slope towards the creek coming right through here. So what I'd have to do is kind of like they did back in the day, is to use dig down in there, use some timbers and go this way, and then come crossways and put some planks up on top of it. That way the water could still go underneath the timbers and drain, and I can still drive across it. Then I would be able to come down the driveway, and I could either go in there once it dries up and dump, or I could come up on the road right here and dump right into a pit. We can clear these trees out, and that pit can be maintained where there's not a lot of grass growing around it, you know, maybe burn it off or something. But I'll have a burn pit right here. See, now as it is, I've just got stacks and stacks of slab wood everywhere, hid in the woods around through here, because I don't have anywhere to put it. So I really need some sort of an area where I can get rid of slab wood. I've given away as much as I could. I've got stacks of wood everywhere, so it's not like I'm going to save it, because it would rot before I could even get to it to burn it, because I have so much. But let me show you a pile I got right here. Right there. That's pretty deep in there, folks. Comes all the way down to about halfway up underneath those logs. I've got this pile that's underneath the tarp right here. It's a huge pile. And I've got that pile right over there. I've also got this large pallet right here. It's about an 8-foot square, I think. What the sawmill was sent on. I'm thinking about using that and building a small shed. I don't know if I'll put it down here, but just a building, you know, that we can put stuff in and kind of clean up the area, because I'm getting so much stuff accumulated. I'm gonna have to have some place to put it. Do y'all ever have that problem? So I went and picked up all that electrical equipment for Jennifer, so that they could get that installed from the new pole that she's got set over there to the house. They did have the insulation blowed in, which I reported to you on one of the other videos, and I think that next week they're going to start on the drywall. So y'all remember those two areas within the truss system that they put on Jennifer's house, because she has such a high ceiling, was a room that was about like 10 by 12. There was just going to be nothing. And I said, you need to lay some plywood down there, because the way that those trusses are made, they've got vertical sides or 2x4s as supports. And then of course the bottom portion right there, so they're able to lay plywood down and then go straight up with some walls. I said, you don't even need a ceiling because it's just going to be storage anyway, right? So I think we're going to run and get some plywood to at least cover the flooring area right now, so that when they start up with the sheetrock, then we don't have to try to maneuver around that and, you know, bump into anything and stuff like that. I still have to finish the corner over there where the service panel is in the cabin, but we've almost got that done. So not really sure what I'm going to start on next. Probably the workshop. So I'm on the back side of the workshop right now. We got this one section here. This is like an 8-foot section. Here's another 8-foot section, and then the last section right here. Then we've got that side over there, which is probably maybe about 10 foot. And then we've got another 8-foot section right there to finish. See up there, I think we counted 9 pieces it's going to take to finish the back side of actually what the workshop, you know, the main building right there, that's going to be 2-story. We're going to have to finish that as well. So I've got a few floor joists right here already cut, and then you can see right here I've got several floor joists that are already cut. They will go from side to side right here along the way. These over here will also run in that direction because it's 12 foot this way. And then up here at the top, I've also got to cut enough that will come all the way across this way, which will be the upstairs. So once we get that done, I'll actually be able to use that portion of the workshop. But you know, I don't even know if that's going to happen this year, because once I get the siding put on, I know that they're going to be farther along with their house down there, so I may get caught up having to build some sheds down there and so forth, and for them. And I want to try to get started on our water and on a back deck for the cabin. But now let me show you what I walked up this morning and found. That's not good. So I don't know if that post right there rotted, but I'm going to have to repair that and that right there, because it's not going to be long and those blackberry vines are going to be starting to get green and producing some blackberries. So we're going to have to get that fixed. Oh, did I mention there's more wood up here too? There's a big pile of it right over there. Like I said, friends, I've got wood everywhere, and I'm only going to have more once I start milling on these logs that we collected from clearing the land down there for Jennifer's house, and down there for that power route. So yeah, we're going to have a whole lot more that we're going to have to do. The other thing that I have to do is I've got some boards saved right here for trim for this area, you know, that I've used around for everything that we've done in the cabin. And then I've got to get this got to get some mud put on this, get this finished, get it painted so that I can have this complete. And then one other thing that I'm going to do, I have one of these lightning arresters left. They actually sent us 2 of the 300 volt AC arresters, and they sent us 2 of the 600 volt arresters. Well, the 600 volt went on the DC side, right, to protect the inverter coming from the solar panel. And then I took and mounted one of these on the other side of the inverter, where we've got our main panel, electrical panel out there in that hut. There's one there. Well, we've got one left. This one would be for normally people that say are on the grid, but they buy a solar system, and this would go on the other end near the grid. Well, since that doesn't apply to us up here, since this is the sub panel off of the main hut out there, I think I'm going to take this panel back off of here, pop me a hole somewhere over in here where I can run those wires through, and build a small shelf that will actually set right here, high enough where the washing machine won't affect it, because that's another thing that I've got to do, is get the washing machine in here out from the porch out there. But I'll set this right here, and we'll tie this in to the feed that's coming from the little hut out there. Because the way that I have it set up now, if lightning was to strike the solar panels, it would travel towards, or it may travel towards the inverter, right? Well, the PV disconnect switch, in other words, it's a switch that you can cut the solar panels off from feeding juice up here, kind of like a light switch. I've got the two 600 volt arresters right there, so if something hit that, it should stop it before it gets to the inverter. All right. I've also got one of those isolators in the main panel out there, so that if something was to hit between here and the hut, then that arrestor, if it was going in that direction, that arrestor should grab it before it hits the inverter, right? So, but if it was to hit and say, hypothetically traveled in this direction, then before it hit the wiring in the cabin, hopefully it would hit that arrestor and go to ground right there. So I think that that's what I'm going to do with that. I think that that's a smart thing to do, because otherwise, we talked to the tech today, we wouldn't be even using it. There's nowhere to put it. But I could go ahead and put it here, and like I say, that should protect the cabin. These toolboxes sitting here will actually be removed, and then we'll go to the workshop. But I want to buy a small chest freezer to go right beside my washing machine. And then this on-demand hot water heater will hang right here, because I did put a plug right underneath that. It has to have power to ignite itself, so it will hang right here. So a small chest freezer would work really well right here beside the washing machine. I thought, you know what, I don't need a dryer. It's just me up here. We're only talking about a couple pairs of pants and shirts a week. I'm going to build me a clothesline. We'll hang them out like Grandma used to do, and we won't have to worry about purchasing a dryer or any of the power that it needs to run it, right? So yeah, I think that that's the best thing to do. You know, and in the wintertime, I can just hang the clothes up in here. You know, not a big deal. But yeah, these are going to be removed. As soon as I can get this corner done, we're going to move the washing machine, because I have got to clean the porch. Check this out. I've got stuff stacked up out here on the front porch that I've got to clean up, because it's about to drive me insane. And then, like I said, I got this whole area over here where I was working with all those miserably single-digit temperature weather that we had recently. And then that's the washing machine that is going to go out over there in the corner. One of the other things that I'm thinking about doing, and let me kind of give you an idea here. The panels that we have are bifacial. That means they will pick up on the front and they will pick up on the back. Now, even though they don't have any direct sunlight, they're picking up light that's ambient or in the area, which increases the percentage of energy and sending to the inverter. So I think we can get something like maybe another 7 to 10% above what they're rated, and be able to feed that into the juice shack as well. Now, if I had a way to be able to increase the amount of ambient light back here, they would be able to draw more energy, correct? So they say that you can do that with white gravel. So what I would do is, in essence, I would build, like, say, maybe using some 2x6s, going along the ground and kind of making a box, and coming and making a square like, and just filling that whole area with white gravel. And what that would do, it would cause a reflection towards the back of the solar panel, where they would possibly pick up more of the sun's energy. So I think that that's going to be another project that's going to be on my list. I don't know how much white gravel that would use, and I don't even know where I'm going to get it. Maybe at a landscaping place, and Lord knows how much it's going to cost. I do want to create as much power as I can up here, and therefore I'm thinking about very seriously doing that. And I may have enough 2x6s already cut to do that. But I'll tell you, I've been looking into getting this charge verter hooked up. So if you're not familiar with the charge verter, that's the only piece that we have left to hook up to this system. It goes between your generator and your batteries, so that you put in the same steady stream of juice, because generators can fry your batteries if it's not operated properly. So it takes the juice in from the generator and it sends it out in a steady stream, because the higher you go in amperage, the more disproportionate your wave gets. And what we want to do is we want to have that at a steady stream so that we don't screw up the batteries. So from my understanding, the charge inverter doesn't hook into the inverter in any way. You come straight from your generator, you plug it into the charge inverter, and then the charge inverter cables go down to the batteries, totally bypasses everything. And it will automatically cut off in the event that the batteries get full. It also has a threshold. If it climbs, I think, any higher than 159 degrees in there, which, you know, we're not going to let that happen, but it would cut itself back. Okay, it would basically cut itself off, so to speak. And then it would come back on, I think, at around 149, but we don't even want that either. So the charge inverter is an important piece of equipment, but honestly, the way that this thing is working, it may never be used because every day it's up at 100%. And like I said, and that's just with 3 batteries. You know, I've got a total storage of somewhere between 12 to 15,000 watts, but I use so very little because of the way I've got everything set up in the cabin with propane that I'm only using between 2,000 and 3,000 kilowatts a day for my needs up here. Now, when I get the washing machine hooked up, yes, that'll use a little bit more because, you know, the washing machine is not something that I can put on propane that I know of. But, you know, I could have a dryer, but don't want the dryer. We're not going to load the cabin up with equipment like that. I need something to wash the clothes, although I could do that in the tub, right, like Grandma used to do. I remember being there where Granny was washing clothes with a scrub board in a great big old tub, right? And then she would take it and hang it out on the clothesline. Did it every week. You know, it's just the way people live. They didn't complain. I mean, it's just what people did. Just like, you know, waking up, going to bed, and eating breakfast and eating supper. It's just, you know, part of the daily activities, right? So I think that, you know, the way that I've got it set up, I require very little juice. I don't require too much propane. So my thinking is that probably around between maybe $500 to $700 a year on propane is going to take care of my refrigerator, my stove, all of my heating, and then this right here is going to take care of the 2,000 to 3,000 kilowatts that I use per day on the power. And you know, we're golden up here. I'll tell you, this system, it runs like a Cadillac. I can't tell you folks, you know, I didn't know anything about solar, but it was so easy to install, and I just wished I hadn't screwed up and plugged into the wrong port, because that was the only reason it wouldn't work when I got it all put together. I was plugged into the wrong port with the communication cable going from the battery to the inverter. But it was so easy to install, and this thing is running like a Cadillac. I'll tell you, I told the technician when I was talking to him on the phone, I said, we're very, very proud of this system. So if you're looking at maybe going to solar, or maybe you've got solar and looking to add a little bit to what you've got, I don't know that much about other systems, but I can tell you everything that I purchased seems to be very high quality with Signature Solar, and it also works very, very well. So friends, I'm going to do my best to try to get started on this. We really appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us. I've also kind of tried to get that on-demand hot water heater mounted up there, because when they get done with Jennifer's house, I want them to come up here and run some PEX line in here, because it's a whole lot easier to run than PVC pipe for the shower, for the vanity in there in the bathroom, and also for the kitchen sink in here. But thanks so much for stopping by, and like we always say, we really do appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.